Good evening, boys and girls. It's the night after the night before. It's not the night before Christmas. Doesn't feel like Christmas yet for the Arsenal. Horrible week. Super Kev is back. Potsy's here. And the ref will be joining in just a little bit. Here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
You have indeed reached your destination. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The squad is back in full force. Joining me and returning tonight is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Good to be back, squaddies. Let me tell you, good to be back. At ease. Come on, let's go.
Mr. Dan Potts from Lee Judges TV, the host with the most. Hello, Super Dan. How you doing?
I'm good, Soph. I'm good, Kev.
Right,
well, as best as I can be. Best as I can be at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit painful at the moment.
It is. It is painful, but it's always good to be on with you two. So I'm looking forward to this.
All right, we've got the usual suspects in chat. Hello, everyone. Hi, squaddies. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Bit of a brutal week for our football club. It is good to see Super Kev back, and I'm not going to waste any time here, should I say. By the way, Dan has a delivery between the hours of 8 and 8:30, and he did say he may have to pop out to answer his door. And I wonder what the delivery is, Kev. That's what I want to know when he gets back. Is it going to be 12 points between now and New Year's? Is it going to be more goals for the Arsenal, more wins and more cheer? Is that what is being delivered at Dan's door right now? We'll soon find out.
I hope so. Jeez.
All right, Kev, I had my say last night. I want to hear you. You were there. You were at Goodison Park. Also, we're bringing in the ref this evening. Hello, Mr. Referee. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me okay? We're having a few IT issues.
We can hear
Rev,
you loud and clear.
I'm very good, Kev. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. I'm okay, thank you.
Good.
Okay, so we've got the ref in to discuss not only the incidences in our match, but also what I wanted to do tonight, Kev, is have an outsider perspective. Our listeners love the ref's take on football outside of just kind of the VAR and the decision making on the pitch. And I think it's good for us to get out of our bubble a little bit and have someone help us give their perspective on what is going on at our club. But before we do that, Super Kev covered the game for Mola last night. He was on the sidelines, touchlines.
Astro. Get that right. Yeah. Bolo Saturday.
Damn, hostess with the mostest fails epically for Mr. Super Kevin Campbell there. Super Kev, you were there. You spoke to both managers. I just want to get your take first on last night. Go for it.
Again, like so many games, first half, woeful. We were crap first half. We couldn't string two passes together, really. And yet, the one move we make, we go ahead. And it was a good play down the left by Kieran Tierney. Took a little bit of a mistouch, whipped it across, and obviously Odegaard comes in as the second striker. Great side foot. You take the lead 1-0, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, right, okay, well, we've got to play better second half. That's for sure. And second half, I thought we done all right. We done all right second half, but do you know what? We could be here till next week talking about the incidents and the problems in our squad. We just are not good enough. We set Everton up to come and press us. Everton had 2 goals taken off from Richarlison. And obviously it was a worldie that beat us. But we cannot give teams opportunities to come and tee off on us. Because you know what, Sophie? We are not good enough. And then you saw our midfield unravel in the second half. And we're going to have that conversation about where does Xhaka come straight back into the team from. I'm sure we're going to have that conversation as well.
Yep, we are.
Of course we are. But again, it boils down to 2 incidents for me. One Eddie Nketiah chance. We score that, we win the game. It's that simple. And they're worldy goal. Because when teams score that against you, there's nothing. Listen, you've got to give credit where credit's due to Everton. Everton kept coming after us. They sensed that our midfield was weak, and they kept attacking. And boy, Demarai Gray at 1.5 million, that is a winner to stun anybody. That is a winner and a half. So, and we still had a chance at the end after that with Aubameyang, but Aubameyang, you know how out of sorts he is. So that's what I saw. You know, we could get into who played well and who didn't play well and all this kind of thing. Yeah, we didn't play well. But you know what? We had opportunity to win the game, and we did not take it. So again, that's our problem.
Okay, so would you also say that even when Everton went 2-1 up, our captain, who, by the way, should not be made the fall guy, the dude played for 7 minutes, but when given a chance, you want the ball to come to him, or maybe 2 seasons or a season ago, you would want the ball to come to him, and he absolutely makes a shot like a Sunday pub player. It was embarrassing. I mean, he should have scored there to make it 2-2.
Oh, complete lack of confidence. You could see that, Sophie. He's struggling. He is really struggling, Soph.
Okay, so
Really
let me ask you this before I move to the other guys, because I'm fascinated by what you're saying. Why does Eddie Nketiah get to come on the pitch before Aubameyang and Pepe? Why is Eddie Nketiah the soup du jour all of a sudden when he has actually told the club he wants to leave? He's refused to sign a new contract that Mikel Arteta has offered him. And he brings him on when we need a goal and when we need something. And we're playing a team that hasn't even won in 8 games and have been absolutely embarrassed and humiliated by lots of opponents so far in the league.
Yeah, but they weren't last night.
But that's the point, Kev. Why is Arsenal always the come? We'll give you 3 points.
Yeah, no, but it's not. No, it's not that, Sophie. Sophie, what people have to understand is when you go away from home, especially up north, it don't matter how the teams are playing. You are going to get checked.
No, but answer my question. Why does Eddie Nketiah get...
I will answer your question. Because it's going to move into that. You are going to get checked, you are going to get tested, and you are going to get physically asked questions. The fact of the matter is Aubameyang was dropped for a reason. He was dropped for a reason.
But you always say that our best players should start because Aubameyang will give us a goal.
Yeah, but he's not our best player at the moment because he's struggling.
But you always said
I said that the last show that I think Aubameyang might need to sit down. What is this? I've said that already. So he's not in the team. Everyone is happy he's not starting.
Kevin,
so
you always say
I said it the last show. I think that Aubameyang might need to sit down. So why all of a sudden now are you saying I always say this when I said it the last show?
Okay, so you really would bring on Eddie Nketiah over Aubameyang or Pepe or anyone
Sophie,
when we need a goal?
Sophie, you've not even letting me answer the question. Can I answer the question?
Sure.
Right. For me, Aubameyang is struggling. That's why I believe Mikel Arteta brought on Eddie Nketiah. That's why he brought him on. The fact of the matter is, as you saw with that last chance, Aubameyang is not the same player right now. His confidence is ultra low. That's probably why he brought him on. Pepe, to me, is done. If he can't even get on the pitch last night, he's done at Arsenal. He's
exactly.
Done.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
He's done.
Okay. All right, Kev. I'm going to switch to the ref. Good evening, ref, because Potsy, I'm going to come to you in just a second because I want to twist it a little bit where we get the outsider view sandwiched in between all of ours. We're in this bubble, right? 1 minute we're on a 10-game run. And we're the champions of the world and we're all super excited. The next thing, we're humbled by Manchester United and we're humbled by Everton. Also, West Ham have had to go up north a few times and have done pretty well. Ref, your team also trounced Everton. A lot of teams have played well against them. Can you please... I don't want to talk about the incidents yet because I don't want to make excuses for our team. What do you see from the Arsenal point of view, from the outsider point of view?
So where I work, they're all Blues. They're all Evertonians. Don't work with anyone else but a Blue, and they're all match goers. And we had a discussion in the office before the game, and I said to them, and don't take this with any disrespect. I said to them because I was at the derby and it was fed up. It wasn't good. As soon as we scored, I know they got one back, but we were always going to pass them. First and foremost, Liverpool are a much better team than Arsenal. End of story on that one. So you can't compare the two results. Secondly, I said to the Evertonians, Arsenal are probably the best side you can face at the moment because they have a very, very soft underbelly. If you get at Arsenal, they're there for the taking. And one thing on the final result, one thing that didn't help Arsenal was the second disallowed goal from Richarlison. Because Kev knows, because he's played there, there's nothing worse than a raucous Goodison Park. Once Goodison Park becomes angry, that is one hell of a football team to play against and a place to play against because their backs go against the wall and they go for your throat and that picks that team up. Yes, you had chances to win it, but watching the game, as soon as that second goal went off and how close it was, and you could see in the supporters that their backs went up, that's a difficult place. Doesn't matter how badly they're playing, doesn't matter, as Kev says, you go to places like that, and especially you add something into the mix, and you've got a problem. And Arsenal, at the moment, don't have the maturity and don't have the guts and energy and strength to battle their way through those moments. And yes, they created a couple of chances, but they were there for the taking a little bit. And I think that's the key. I think Goodison Park became angry, and you paid the price.
So can you just explain real quick, did your Everton mates, and I know you're surrounded by all of that stuff, thank you, in your community, did your Everton mates think they had a chance against us yesterday? Because one of the things that I thought was so poignant was their walkout. I said to Tony, I'm like, they're not walking out because they think they can win this game. It's probably one of the best games they've played all season. Go on.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think the walkout was a slightly different thing. I think Evertonians, we were having a discussion about this as well. People left the derby early and this, that, and the other, and their support was beginning to be questioned. And I thought it was a bit of an odd one when they were talking about walking out 27 years, 27 trophies and all, no trophy and all that. I didn't think there would be an en masse walkout. Nothing to do with what was going on in the game. Maybe different if they'd have been 2-0 down, but certainly not a 0-0. They weren't going to walk out. And if actually you watch it, they went up a notch. The level went up. They started to support their team again. And I thought I'm not sure it was done deliberately, but it almost prodded the rest of the Everton fans to start supporting their side. No Everton fan that I spoke to thought they were going to get anything out of the game. It was me who was saying it, and they were going, we'll see. They just thought they were going to get battered again because they're in that mindset. There's a negative order about Goodison Park and Everton Football Club at the moment, not just to do with what's going on the field. It's been there for a while. And one result against Arsenal doesn't change that. It's not a nice atmosphere to be around. I actually was in the Spello. I don't know if Kev knows it, but I was in the Spello pub before the derby, which is on Goodison Road. So I was literally a fish out of water. And the negative energy in that boozer before the derby game was, you could feel it. And you could feel it if Liverpool scored early, it could go ugly. And I think that's the case for any game they play. There's a negativity around them. But I'll go back to what I said. When Richarlison had that second goal disallowed last night, the energy levels changed. Anger came out. And all that anger and frustration they were feeling towards their own club spilled out onto the field. And Kevin will tell you, no one wants to play in those circumstances. No one.
You could feel it. You're 100% right. I could feel it. And when we have a WhatsApp group, a bunch of us, podcasters, and we were like, we're not going to win this game. We just knew it. Dan, I want you to address both comments, Kev's, his two incidences where he felt that we lost the game, and also kind of the ref talking about, even when you hear the thought process of Everton fans, the fact they're able to rise the way they did yesterday. Just give us your thoughts. I know you talked about it with Lee on your channel this morning too. Let us know what you think.
What I think, Sophie, is quite simple. My thoughts have not changed since October 2020. This manager sucks. It's really that simple. There's nothing more to say than that. When you look at what happened yesterday, there's nothing new. There's no progress. This process that people keep talking about has already ended after one game. Manchester United on Thursday, everyone calm down. Now everyone wants a new manager after one game later. That process was working. You wanted 5 years like Klopp got. You've got another 4 years of this, people. What are you breaking for now? You've been telling me to be patient. I've been patient for 16 years and I've had this absolute clown in charge now for the best part of 2 years. And I've seen nothing. Absolute nothing. Whether it's Mustafi at the back, whether it's Gabriel at the back, whether it's El Neni in midfield, whether it's Lokonga. Yeah? It is the same outcome. Let me talk to you a little bit about man management of this guy. Because this guy is clueless when it comes to man management. That our top scorer of last season now is behind Eddie Nketiah, who's rejected a contract and isn't here in 6 months' time. What a great bit of man management that is. £72 million wasted on the bench. And we need a goal, and he's bringing him on behind Aubameyang and Nketiah now. Meanwhile, 6 months, Balogun's been killing it in the under-23s, but we'll waste him for another 6 months and now decide perhaps he might need a loan. How far behind is he that we're bringing Nketiah on instead of this guy who's absolutely killing it? Then I look in our midfield. Granit Xhaka hasn't kicked a ball for how long? Walked straight into this team. Project Youth. 30-year-old Granit Xhaka comes in ahead of Lokonga, one of our best players against Newcastle. And man of the match, Maitland-Niles against Watford, yet to kick a ball since he picks up the man of the match. What brilliant man management this is from this clueless clown. Then we look at the back and we think to ourselves, what's happening with Kieran Tierney and Nuno Tavares? Kieran Tierney comes on, plays very well. He decides to put Kieran Tierney and Xhaka on the same side of the pitch and wonders why both of them look knackered and we get overrun over that side by the Damari Grays and God knows who have they've got in Everton. Who, let's be honest, is absolute trash. Yeah? I've got a lot of time and respect for Everton, but they have got some trash. Their defence, Seamus Coleman. Yeah? Ben White, one good game, one bad game. One good game, one bad game. Gets absolutely done. Don't let him cut inside, bang, goal. Oh, well done. Did not see that one coming. This process is done. There is no process. There's no progress. We've got owners who now I'm pointing the fingers at again, who everybody was loving in the summer for giving us 150 million. I want to know how happy they are. Are they happy with this 150 million that we've now spent playing one game a week to prepare outside of Europe, and we're now 7th? 4 points behind 4th, I hear you say. We're 4 points behind 11th place, Steven Gerrard's Villa, who in 3 games have now been turned around. Why? Because they've now got a manager who can actually take them forward. Just like Graham Potter does at Brighton, just like Conte's doing at Spurs, just like Ralph Ragnick will do now at Manchester United, just like Tuchel will now do at Chelsea. And we're stuck with this clown still. And these owners are doing nothing about it. I called for this manager's head when we were getting absolutely obliterated by teams like Villa and Burnley and Wolves and Leicester at home. And then no, nothing happened because at Smith Rowe time at Christmas, we started to beat Brighton and Wolves. Massive clubs, Brighton and Wolves. We managed to get past them, so let's give him more time. Then we come up against some manager that maybe a few of you might know called Unai Emery, and we get embarrassed in both legs. And then he can't get sacked because he needs time. Let's give him another £150 million out of Europe and see if he can get us into Europe. No chance the way we're playing. We have got so many good players in this side playing badly that Mikel Arteta can somehow turn Aubameyang into Akinbaye and Partey into Frimpong. How? When every other manager is killing it out there with these players. Partey, Simeone made Partey look like an absolute monster. Tuchel, Klopp, Unai Emery, Wenger, all gave Aubameyang 30 goals. He can get, 14, 15 under Arteta? Because of the crap football that we play going forward? I have seen no progress, Soph, and the mismanagement of this guy is unbelievable. And this has come from tiring and exhausting of me saying the same things week in, week out. Trust the process. Stop being toxic. Stop being a negative fan is all I get told by this section of the fan base. Why the hell are this fan base accepting this? I asked the question. Why are we accepting mediocrity when we sacked a geezer for coming 5th and getting us to a Europa League final, 1 point off of top 4? Meanwhile, the season before that, everybody hounded Arsene Wenger out because he missed out on the Champions League. And now it's okay for us to come 8th twice in a row, start spending 150 million, plus more, by the way. And he's got a front three of Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette. Tell me a front three in the Premier League that's cost more than that combined. You won't find one because there isn't one. And he can't get him scoring a goal. We've scored 1 goal from a forward in our last 7 games. And that was Martinelli, who no one says is a forward. So why is it that you can't get these players going up front? Absolute madness that people are sticking up for this mediocrity and saying that this guy needs more time. I said it to you earlier, Soph. This guy needs more Windows than Microsoft. And I stand by it. It's embarrassing. Yeah? He now needs more strikers. Oh, we need more strikers now. Those strikers will play exactly the same as Lacazette did last night because he was crap. And Aubameyang was because he was crap. Why are they now crap? Because under Unai Emery, Aubameyang scored 31 goals and Lacazette was player of the season. Under Arteta, looked absolutely, completely different players. So when I get people come back to me, please tell me what this guy is doing that deserves to keep his job. What is so positive about this guy that you're seeing? Because I am seeing nothing but negative, boring, unattractive football. -4, no goals, and conceding now, is it 17 goals against the top 4 and Everton, and we've got to play them all over again yet? Nah, I'm done, man. Get Ten Hag in quickly, or we are going nowhere.
Wow. Take a drink. I hope there's something sharp in there.
That was without breathing as well. Bloody hell.
Done, man.
Okay, so Kev, do you want to respond to Dan? And there's no, I mean,
there's nothing to say, is there? Listen, that's the way Dan feels, of course. But at the end of the day, look, football is about peaks and troughs, whether we like it or not. We are not where the top 3 or 4 are. We know where we are. We should know where we are. Yeah, the team ain't playing well enough. A few games ago, when we were winning, the team weren't necessarily playing great, but we were winning games. That is the difference. Now, we've lost 3 out of 4. Of course, there's going to be heat on the manager. 100%. That comes with the territory, so.
I want you to tackle a little bit more of what he's saying, Kev, because he
like
brings
what?
like his comments about Mikel Arteta, his man management, the way he's handling players.
Yeah, but the man management
the
didn't
lack
come
of goals.
Yeah, but it didn't come into play when we were winning games.
Oh, it did for a lot of us still.
Well,
I mean,
who?
Well,
when we
many
were
of us.
unbeaten, when we were unbeaten for 10.
But even during that unbeaten run.
No,
all right,
but who said then?
Quite a few people in the Arsenal community, I would say.
Said, what did they say?
That in those games, even when we beat Leicester in the second half, we regressed. We played well against Tottenham for 35 minutes. We struggled against.
Yeah, but Sophie, my point is this. Nobody was questioning much because we won. Now, when you lose, obviously there's going to be more heat. And when you play like that against a team who hasn't won in 8 games, of course there's going to be anger. I get that, Sophie. But I've always said this game is about winning cures everything. It cures everything, right?
Well, it hasn't cured us. We had a 10-game unbeaten run and it didn't really...
Yeah, but it cured it at the time, Sophie.
Do you remember when we beat Newcastle and I said to you, I can't get excited about this? And you were like, why? Be excited. Your team won. And I said, because... I feel like there's something around the corner.
Yeah, but that's football, Sophie. You can get excited about getting 3 points. You can get excited about getting 3 points.
But it's a bigger picture for Arsenal. It's not just the 3
Sophie,
points.
Of course it's a bigger picture. So why not look at the bigger picture then? Because you cannot tell me you believe this Arsenal side are just going to go to places and steamroll the teams off. That's not how this thing goes. We are not that team. Liverpool are like that.
No, but I don't expect us to steamroll teams. I expect us to perform and show.
We all want that, Sophie, but we are not that team.
But why has it taken 2 years for us not to be that team, Casey?
No, Dan, by the way, this team here has only been together since the first transfer window. Or has it not?
No, but it's the same excuse for 2 years. This team, that team, these players.
So how long have we got to wait then
What's
for
the
this
common
team?
denominator?
No, Sophie, no, hold on. This team hasn't been together 2 years. This team has been together since the first transfer window.
But what's the common denominator of that?
The common denominator of that is the manager. Remember, he's got to pick his own players. He's inherited so many other players. So the team come together, they look better, and now we're going through a tough patch. What part of that big picture can't you guys understand?
I do understand. 400 of you in live chat right now too. Please hit that like button if you I don't know, enjoy life right now versus Arsenal. Please do hit that like button.
Don't worry about
just hit it. Yeah, I was going to say, just hit it.
I want to bring like button and broke the neck. Come on.
I want to bring the ref in real quick, because what I'd like to know is, when we're making progress and this is his team, why on earth do you go back to Xhaka, El Neni, and these players when Sambi's played well, right? When these young players have played well, and Sambi has done really, and as Dan said, was man of the match. Dave, ref, I would love for you to tell me how you see that, because Liverpool, I feel, we compare ourselves to Liverpool, and and only because it took you 30 years to win the league. We're on year 17. You went through peaks and troughs, but in between that, you won the Champions League, FA Cup, you won the League Cup. You know, you were doing bits. We went on a 10-year barren trophy run, and then we got those FA Cups. So when Kev says this team's only been together, why then revert back to some of the players we know, we've seen, and we don't understand, and then also bring in an Eddie over your captain who has been your talisman for the previous 2 seasons? What is the outsider view on that?
Well, first, we've had our fair bit of shit over the years, so let's not just dress it all up at the moment. You know, it's great at the moment, and everything in the garden is rosy. But I remember Roy Hodgson. What I will say from the outside is, I can understand bringing experienced players in. I can understand, especially when it's not necessarily going so great. You did go on that run, but there were games in that run, and don't get me wrong, I didn't see every kick of every game, but I certainly saw something like the Palace game, where, you know, you were fortunate to get away with that one for the start. You know, Kev said it, you weren't necessarily, you weren't necessarily playing spectacular football at that point, but you were getting results, you were winning football matches, and Kev's right in a way. You know, 3 points is 3 points, and if you walk out from the ground with 3 points, it is job done. But what I don't see from Arsenal is a structure. And I'm going to say the word process, but I don't necessarily mean it in the same way as what's being said at the moment. Trust the process. I don't see a process. I see the fact that he's brought players in like Lokonga, who's a good player, and Ben White's got potential to be a good player. And from the outside, I look at Arsenal and I go, they've got some good young players. Smith Rowe's a good player. Saka's a good player. We know all this. Odegaard's a player. Ben White's got potential. Aaron Ramsdale's a really good signing. Lokonga looks a good player. There just doesn't seem to be a process to either bring those players in and let them gel, or the thing that Jurgen Klopp does, which is actually leave them out. So the amount of players who don't come into Liverpool's first team, we spent 30 million on Canarsie now. He's not getting a kick at the moment. You know, he doesn't necessarily bring players in. He judges it by what he sees in front of him. On the Aubameyang thing, the one thing none of us know is what's going on the training ground. None of us know what Aubameyang's attitude is like currently. So if Eddie Nketiah, regardless of rejecting a contract, is ripping it up in training, and he's trying his hardest to impress the manager to get in the team, and Aubameyang's got his head round and sulking, I'm not saying it is, I'm saying there might be a reason why Nketiah starts and Nketiah comes on ahead of Aubameyang, same as Pepe. What you paid for Pepe in some ways doesn't make any difference, because if he's stinking the place out, he's not going to play. So I just don't see, I think it just flips between one thing then another, and he goes to another, and then he reacts and goes to another thing. And that if I was an Arsenal fan, that's the thing that would worry me the most. That'd be like, he's not saying, all right, we've had a couple of bad results, I'm sticking with the way we're doing it. Youth is going to play. I'm going to get through this. They're going to mature with games. Or I'm going to play the spine of an experienced side and I'm going to bring in youth in and around it, and eventually they'll come through and take over the likes of Xhaka and whoever else. It seems to be blowing with the wind. That's just my observation from the outside.
He done that last
whilst
season.
He does.
He done that last season, and the experienced players never put out. They never helped the youngsters. They never done it.
But then last night, Kev, he reverts to it again. So what I'm saying is, if you look at someone like Potter at Brighton, he's got a very distinct way of managing that team. He's got a distinct way of playing football. He buys the players and who play into that style of football, and he allows them to nurture and play. And then in and around that, you bring someone like Adam Lallana in, who fits into the way that they play. And I can see what Graham Potter's doing. Now, it's only 2-3 games ago that their fans booed Graham Potter, which, by the way, is utterly ridiculous.
Exactly.
Because, I'll tell you what, they came to Anfield, and they are the bravest side I have seen at Anfield bar Manchester City. They were miles braver than Chelsea. They came and played football and said, you know what, lads, we'll go for you toe-to-toe. And they should have won. I was dead impressed with him. And I talked about Everton before. We were saying in the office, who did he get Benitez goals? I'd be all over Graham Potter. He's got a structure, he's got a way of playing, he's got a philosophy, and he's got staff around him who know what they're doing, and he's got the players in to play his way. He has done a fantastic job, and I don't see that from Arteta. And I'm not saying Arteta should go, because I'm not qualified enough. I'm just saying from the outside, I see other managers doing it in a different way, and some of it's working. Steven Gerrard will be the same at Villa. He's done the same at Rangers. I know you can't judge it, but I think he'll get it right because he's got a philosophy. He knows what type of players he wants, and he'll get the players to fit in and around his philosophy. I don't see it from Arteta. I don't know what his philosophy is. Not on the pitch, I mean. I don't see it.
Kev, do you think that's a fair statement when you even look at someone like even Michael Carrick coming in and winning 3 games when Ole left? You could kind of see what he was trying to do. Ten Hag came in, the 4-2-2-2 out of possession, playing Rashford and Ronaldo together up front, higher press, better out of possession.
No, you mean Ranić.
You mean Ranić?
Ranić, sorry. I got Ten Hag on the brain, babies. And then Gerrard, 3 out of 4.
But again,
talk to me about what the ref has said, because it's the identity part of it, the shifting gears all the time, the throwing things to stick at the wall.
Yeah, I get all that. But listen, Graham Potter, this is his first rodeo. He struggled for a couple of seasons. They're having a better season this season. It does happen. The fact of the matter is, like I've said, it's taken Arteta till that first window to make a change at Arsenal. We've said it, Sophie, from the start of the season. Now this team is his. This team is his team now. That don't mean that they can't go through tough times. And that don't mean Graham Potter's team hasn't gone through tough times or gonna go through. That don't mean Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa's not gonna go through tough times. Michael Carrick had 3 games. Do you know what? With that squad, I'm sure he could win 3 games or win 2 games and draw 1. Of course he can. But there's gonna be peaks and troughs. We are not the same squad as a Manchester United. We are not. We do not have the same qualities that Manchester United have. As a team and as a squad. We should have beat them. Yes, we should have. But we still do not. And anybody who reckons we have the same talent, we do not. We do not. So let's be real and 100 here. We can have ups and downs. Any team can, and teams will.
Can I just say something? Sorry, can I just,
go on, Ref.
Just say something?
Of course.
Just in response to Kev about Graham Potter, he's absolutely right. They did struggle. They struggled for a couple of seasons to keep themselves in the Premier League. But watching Brighton, you knew exactly what he was trying to make them into. And that might not have worked. And it took him a few windows, what Kev alluding to get the right players in and to get them playing in the right way and to imprint his philosophy. But you could tell very early on what Graham Potter was trying to do with that football team. You could see what style of play they were trying to play, and you could see it, and he struggled, and he stuck with him, and he got through it. That's the bit I don't see from Arteta. I don't see it. I don't know what he's trying to do. Now, maybe he is trying to do something, but I want to know
I want to know what is our style of play and philosophy. No one's
That's
been
my
able to
point,
tell
to be
me.
honest.
No one's been able to tell me in so long. And I just think, just tell me what it is then. If you're happy, if you think you're talking absolute nonsense, of course there's a style. This is the philosophy. How can't you see it? I'm all ears. Please, someone tell me. I've been asking for so long. No one can tell me.
Well, I could tell you, Dan. I could
Go on,
tell you.
Casey.
The philosophy is to try and play out from the back and beat the opposition's press. That is the philosophy. Once
So
you
he's
beat
trying.
the
He's
opposition,
trying to do what Emery did, but failing at it. Then
well, it's not working. It hasn't worked these last few games, that's for sure. But when you were winning, that's what we were doing. And it might take a half to do it. And sometimes we've done it in the first half when they couldn't quite do it in the second half when other teams adjusted. But that is his philosophy. We have seen it. We can't say we haven't seen it. We've seen it even against Liverpool. When was it in the Community Shield? We've seen it against Manchester City in the FA Cup. We've seen it against Chelsea in the FA Cup.
Point. That's the point, though, Casey.
We're a cup
But the
team.
players, but the players have to stand up. The players have to turn up for us to be able to do it, and they haven't done it.
Okay, so let's talk about this. The players turn up against Leicester and show them zero respect, which I loved, and trounced them in the first half. The players show up for 35 minutes against Tottenham, trounce them. We went, but we kind of capitulate in the second half and got a little bit lucky, to be honest with you. I think Aston Villa was a clinical win. The other games, questionable. Manchester United, we go there and we play, as many of us said, the badge and not the team in front of us. We played the great Manchester United Football Club versus the Manchester United gobshite team they've been for the last, season and a half, 2 seasons. And we couldn't close in the first half when we had them on the ropes and should have absolutely annihilated them, showed them way too much respect. That's the inconsistencies in how we approach games, what we do, how we start, how we finish, how we close. The 1-0 against Everton, go in for the kill. Why aren't we doing that? And I think that's where identity, DNA, and culture comes in. And we seem to be a different team every single week. And sometimes it looks like the players are a little bit confused. And a lot of people in chat are asking Kev and everyone, why is it he's unable to get the best out of senior players? Why is it Thomas Partey has regressed at Arsenal? Why is it Aubameyang has regressed? Why is it Lacazette has been regressing? What's happened with Pepe? These senior players that we need to help these younger players so we're not so reliant on them.
Pepe's never been consistent. So that's always been a
But Kev, we've talked about his stats and how in the FA Cup run, he was a huge part of that lacquer.
Of course he was.
Partnership with Oba.
And the second half of last season, we saw Pepe do some things and we thought, right, this is his season. But it's not been his season. The key is, it's not the manager, it's the players who have to go out there and perform. And they haven't been doing it. These young players need the experienced players more so, even more so now. That game against Everton yesterday, that's where your senior players help you get through. And we couldn't do it. We could not do it. So, again, look, I've been a senior player. I've been a young player. If you do not have senior players when you're a young player to help you through, the game is so much harder. It is so much harder. We do not have it. And do you know what, Sophie? I do not know why they are playing so bad. I don't know. And I bet you if you ask them, they couldn't tell you. Because once you cross that line, it's a game of football. They know what to do. You can't tell me Partey doesn't know what to do. Aubameyang doesn't know what to do. Pepe doesn't know what to do. You can't tell me the manager is saying to them, don't do that. They know what to do.
Well, clearly they
but they know what to do. That's my point.
But there's something not quite right about it.
But I can't put my finger on why. I can't.
So you think it's the
Why
players
has David
still,
Moyes
Casey?
managed to get out of? How's David Moyes gone from wanting to be fired to West Ham fans wanting to start a war at the Olympic Stadium against the owners and the manager, to bringing the entire club together, finding a way to win on the pitch? Are West Ham better than us? Do they have a better squad than us, or do they just have a better manager?
I'll tell you what they are, Solve. They're a more experienced team.
No, they have a more experienced manager, maybe on the flip side of that.
No. You're not listening to what I said. So I'm gonna re-say it. They are a more experienced team than us.
And they've also got a more experienced manager on top of that.
Of course they have.
Yeah.
But they're a more experienced team.
And they play as a defined unit, which Arsenal certainly don't.
And why is that, Ref?
I agree with that. Why is that?
Why don't we have defined units?
Well, I was just listening to what Kev was saying, and he's absolutely you can't separate the two. The two go together. You can't say it's all the manager and not the players, because as Kev rightly says, Aubameyang misses that chance last night. That's not the manager's fault. It might be the manager's fault it wasn't on the pitch for longer, but he still should take that chance. And Ketia should score. That's not the manager's fault. 10 goals should go in. You might be sat here having a different discussion about the result last night. Probably would be. But if it was just the players, aren't doing it, and it's up to the players to do it, there's a reason why Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp get the best out of the players that they get. There's a reason why they give those players a bigger edge. Pep Guardiola inherited players. Jurgen Klopp inherited players. Thomas Tuchel has inherited players. And each one of those managers has improved the players underneath him and has got them playing in a defined way. Yes, the players have to take responsibility. Thomas Partey's stinking the place out. Who knows why? He's a class footballer, but he's just not doing it. I think the two have to come hand in hand, but the buck stops with the manager. It
100%.
does. He's working with them and his coaching staff every day of the week. Every day. There's got to be something there, because bad players don't turn into bad players overnight. Of course they don't. But there seems to be a lack of structure and decisiveness and forward thinking. That's me guessing from the outside. I might be wrong. I'm an outsider looking at it. But that's what I see. Did you remind me a little bit? Sorry, just one second. Did you remind me a little bit of when we had Dalglish back second time at Liverpool? Love him to bits. Legend. But there was absolutely no, and he inherited a bag of crap, by the way, from Bodgson. But there seemed to be no plan, no forward thinking. And we got Rodgers in and we did okay. And then the third season unravelled, and there looked like there was no plan again. And then when Jurgen Klopp came in, even though he inherited some really poor footballers, we had Stephen Colker playing for us. It was crap. But you could see from minute one, there was a unity and a direction. And he had to get those players out and get new players in and keep the players he wanted to improve.
How many players are still at the club when he came in to when he took
Jordan Henderson's captain of the football club. James Milner. You know what I mean? So he kept the players, and there was Adam Lallana was there. He's only just gone.
I'm saying how many players are still there from the first?
2 or 3. But this is 6 years ago, so 2 or 3 players.
Yeah,
but still there. Jordan Henderson's captain of the club. When Virgil van Dijk came in, everyone assumed he was going to be captain. He's not. Jordan is, and he's improved him.
Okay.
That's it then. We've only got 5 years to wait, guys. Can't wait for this. Jesus.
We've got 15 minutes of the show left. We've got a hard stop at 9 o'clock tonight, you guys. And the conversation
if you want to pay 400 million for him, you're still not signing his contract.
Oh my gosh! If there's a player any player, I would take
him.
The disrespect that he gets, unbelievable. I heard on Andy and Austin on Drive today talking about the best player so far this season. They picked Bernardo Silva, and I'm like, of course he's. Come on, what does Mo Salah have to do to get some respect around here, for crying out loud? Ref, before we duck out, the chat is on fire asking me. They said, if you don't ask this, we're never going to forgive you. The incident yesterday, Tomiyasu, talk us through that. How the bloody hell is that not a red card?
It's a red card. So, firstly, I've seen a lot of chatter on social media about Mike Dean, and I know he's not your favourite. But Mike Dean really is not to blame yesterday. So the ball goes away. So Mike Dean's got to follow the ball. The actual incident's a difficult one for the referee to pick up. Now, whether the linesman could help him, I don't know. But Mike Dean hasn't seen it. If he sees it, he gets at least a yellow if he thinks there's no intent. VAR intervene and look at it. And I was watching it. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, that's a red card. And it's a red card on 2 counts. Firstly, I think he means it, even though he looks the other way. But we don't know that. I don't know that. You don't know it. But it looks like he means it, the way he places his foot. Secondly, they're bringing more and more into football, just like they are in other sports, about looking after your opponent and dangerous tackles on an opponent. If you make contact with your studs, with an opponent's head, and I don't care whether he's lying on the floor, all it takes is one stud to go into the eye of an opponent, and that could be his career over. Curtis Jones of Liverpool at the moment, it's a worry because he's not back at training. He got an eye injury in training, a freak eye injury, and he's still not playing 6 weeks later. Tommy Asu, and this isn't an exaggeration, could have lost an eye. That could have ended that player's career.
Mm-hmm.
Godfrey has a duty of care with his feet. Now, you can't always. Football's a contact sport, and things happen. There was one later on with Anthony Gordon that I've seen retweeted over and over again. He goes to block the ball. And he misses, gets there late, and his foot connects. Could be a yellow card. But that is totally different to what Ben Godfrey did. He went in. The way he places his foot is not natural. It's not as if he's going to put his foot on the floor as if I didn't see him. Because if he does, he gets really injured. So it's actually a good thing for Tommy Asu that Godfrey meant it in a way, because he realised at the very last minute, oh, hold on, and just doesn't place the foot down. If he's stamping his foot down on the floor to get a grip to turn, he goes in his face. I thought it was a shocker. And I think VAR have regressed with that because they were doing better this season. But they should be looking at that and going, sorry, you might not mean it, but that can endanger an opponent. Off you go.
The other incident that Arsenal fans quite a few are saying, so for asking the Gordon incident, they think was worse. Talk us through that one.
It's not. If you watch it, well, I've watched it in preparation for the show again, just because I saw it at the time. I saw it retweeted and all over social media today, and slow motion clips of him going in with his foot. Watch the angle of his foot. When the player goes to clear the ball, Gordon's got his angle at a right angle like that. He goes to block the ball, and then when he's gone through, his foot's connected with him because he's missed. He's got there too late, and he's connected with the leg. You can say that it's dangerous in terms of the fact that it's connected with the players. But that happens in football. It happens all the time. If you're giving them as red cards, I think you'd be down to 7 or 8 players a game. I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think it's as reckless. It's nowhere near as reckless as the Godfrey thing. No chance. Mm-hmm. Plus, Godfrey gets booked, by the way, later on. So, he's a lucky boy, Ben Godfrey, yesterday. I thought he was aggressive all the way through the game, and I don't mind aggression. That's fine. That's part of the game. Arsenal could do with a bit of that. But there's a line. There's a line that you go across, and he steps over that line for me. Gordon, no. Gordon could have got a booking. Mm-hmm. But it was a red card on Ben Godfrey all day long. And the fact that VAR... Oh, sorry, just one last thing. The fact that VAR intervene, and therefore the referee can't book him, is the biggest pile of crap that I've ever heard in my life.
It is nonsense.
So then he's allowed to go and commit a foul later on that he gets a yellow card for. Right. And it's like, what? Come on.
It's the inconsistency and some of the rules and stuff like that. Dan, we had a conversation on your channel, and we've got the ref here, and Kev, one of the things we've talked about is our players being a bit more assertive and a bit more aggressive. We're not saying assault the referee, but we need to bombard him a little bit more when these things happen. And I feel like we're one of the worst teams at doing that. And ref, I know it's not right. It's not, you should never kind of, Manchester United were probably the worst at doing this, especially during the Roy Keane, Ferguson years. But Kev, a little bit more of that. Does that help? Does that make the referee go look at something? I mean, the rules are the rules in terms of how they can review things, but shouldn't our team have a little bit more balls in those situations?
I'll tell you this, Soph. If the Arsenal players had really made a scene, that then put something in the referee's head. You could ask the ref this, because obviously what happened was obviously it was studs in the face. So I've seen them red carded, straight red card, no questions asked. And I've seen people get away with it like it did. So I don't know what to believe. But one thing I do know, if that happens and the team get around it, the referee has definitely got a decision to make. He will really take a serious look at it.
Ref?
I think you're right and wrong. So I don't think Mike Dean's seen it, full stop. So I don't care what anyone does. You can run around the referee all you like, but if he's not seen it, and actually if he hasn't seen it, and because Granit Xhaka's in his face, he gives a red card, and that's actually poor refereeing. So actually, no, I don't agree with you in that point. It might help him later on and think, what's going on here, and planted the seed. But I go back to it. VAR have time and space to look at it in a proper manner. And I could not believe that they did not send Mike Dean to that screen yesterday. I couldn't believe it. Let the referee review. The referee's not seen it. So let the referee go and see it in fast motion first and then in slow motion so he can see what's happened. And I'm damn well sure that would have been a red card by Mike Dean, by the way. I'm sure it would have been.
Ref, can I ask, if the ref says he hasn't seen it,
yes,
what happens? Does VAR say to him, well, I think you should have a look? Or can he say, I haven't seen it, I need to have a look at it?
There's a dialogue that goes on between the referee and VAR, and any incident of that nature, VAR will automatically look at behind the scenes. Half the time, you don't even know what's going on. Yeah. You know, the amount of times I hear a fan hear it at the game, but I can't believe VAR's not looked at that. They are looking at it. They're looking at everything. Yes, there is. If the referee thinks, something's gone on behind my shoulders here, and I've not seen it. Just say, for example, Tommy Asu stands up with some surprise he didn't, and tries to throttle Godfrey, and everyone gets involved and is a melee, the referee's not seen it, he will say to the VAR, what have I missed here? Even before VAR are looking at it.
You know, it's interesting in MLS when they do this sometimes, the fans get to hear the dialogue between the ref guys and the VAR ref as well. And it's enlightening. You hear them talk about, well, X, Y, and Z. And I think maybe the evolution of VAR will be that, especially especially for viewers at home. And then in the stadium, that's the toughest part because fans in the stadium are always the ones who are going to suffer the most, maybe not knowing what's going on. But go on, Ref, before we bring Dan back in.
They do it rugby.
Yeah.
They do it rugby. You can hear it both ways. Do you know who can hear the fourth? Do you know who can hear the VAR? Do you know who can hear it? The media. So the media in the press box can hear one way. They can hear the VAR talking to the referee, but can't hear the referee, which is a nonsense. Some grounds, not all grounds, but some grounds. That's a nonsense. Either do it or don't do it. The communication of VAR to fans is absolutely outrageous. It's outrageous. No one knows what's going on.
Yeah. Why are you shaking your head, Kev?
How does the media get to hear this and not the people concerned, not everybody?
They can hear, it's ridiculous. If you've got the technology where you can hear what is being discussed, the first people who should hear it are us.
Yeah.
Because if I'm an Arsenal fan last night, sat at home last night, I'm going, how have you come to that decision?
Why can't the fans hear it? Why shouldn't the fans? If the media can hear it, why shouldn't the fans hear it?
It's easy. In the NFL, they hit their mic on their waist. You know, they tell fans they can hear there's the referees also in what every channel does. Of course, in the NFL, you guys see it. They have a ref on every single broadcast, and when something happens, there's an ex-referee that will explain it and give his take.
We have that now, don't we? We have that here now.
Yeah. But it's the in-stadium experience for fans knowing what's going on, and it's the candid conversation between. It's the dialogue, like to know what's happening. Right, we've got 5 minutes left.
Just 1 second. It's not the dialogue. It's not the dialogue. It's what they do in NFL that should happen. They should explain to the fans. So last night, Mike Dean, after the conversation, should have a button on his waist that directly says to all the stadium, VAR have looked at that.
Foul, 15 yards.
And they believe Ben Godfrey. Let's go start going flags everywhere. Ben Godfrey, he's not deliberate. They've deemed that it's not deliberate, so therefore it's play on. Now, then you can make it out what you will. And their argument will be it'll cause a riot. That's their argument.
Yeah,
but you
because people are drinking and it'll incite violence and all that type of stuff. I think we need to trust fans a little bit more than that in stadium. Right, we got 5 minutes left here, Dan, and Kev, I want you to, because I'd like to hear Dan's take on this. Kev actually spoke to Rafa Benitez last night. By the way, Ref, brilliant analysis again on that. Thank you for coming in. It was painful for us, and it was also painful for Everton. Let's be honest. That second offside looked like it was like the tip of my nail for Richarlison last night. Kev, you spoke to both managers to arc the conversation tonight. The men in charge. What was the take of Rafa and Mikel? You were there. You spoke to them. Talk us through it.
Well, obviously they were both at different ends of the spectrum, weren't they? Mikel Arteta was not happy. He knows that the team didn't play well. He knows that they didn't do what he wanted them to do for whatever reason, and taking care of the ball. And then when you get the opportunities, taking them. Ultimately, that's a frustration. He was frustrated, and wasn't a happy bunny. But on the other hand, Rafa Benitez, I asked him a question and I said to him about what was your game plan going for Arsenal? Did you want to press? He said 100%. We wanted to press them. We know the way they play, and we needed to press to get the 12th man involved. They know, as the ref quite rightly said, they know if they get the 12th man involved, it becomes a very difficult game for Arsenal, even more so. And that's what they done. I think it worked for them. Richarlison being up front on his own, because he's a lot more mobile. He's one of these Brazilians who don't mind the contact. And they played to him. They played off him. And let's be honest, if it weren't for 2 VAR goals, he would have got a hat-trick last night. So, at the end of the day, they really pushed us. They really did. And we couldn't handle it, so that's the bottom line. The chances came, we couldn't take them.
Dan, and also Benitez making the adjustment in the second half, bringing on Gomez, shifted his system a little bit. It was really a shift in the game completely. Their momentum, not only like the ref said, the stadium carried them, but that one change also made a massive difference. The difference in an experienced manager in his substitutions versus maybe Arteta overthinking things at times.
So 2 things. I want to come on to that in a sec. VAR, we all know, stands for very awful refereeing. Enough said on that. I don't want to hear excuses of red cards or offsides. We deserved to lose last night, and it should have been 4-1 because toenails shouldn't be offside, in my opinion. Anyway, that's another story. As it comes to the 2 managers, in my opinion, Rafa Benitez is a great manager, and a career says it all. Mikel Arteta is learning on the job. So for me, when people start saying, "Oh, Dan wanted Rafa," look at Everton. Yeah, look at Everton. They've just absolutely dominated Arsenal. This Arteta side that everyone thinks is an absolute genius. I don't understand how you can even compare the 2 managers. When I look at what Rafa Benitez did, I think it was a reaction. And I'm with Kev in terms of Goodison Park. It's a horrendous place to go at times. But this is just proving for me a fact that this project doesn't work. We were never going to do anything with a young project, a young coach, and the 2 of them together with young players and a young coach is the perfect storm for disaster, in my opinion. This is going to be a horrendous season. This is going to be the worst season that we've ever seen at Arsenal Football Club. This one right now. It is horrendously bad. We are seeing
the worst season ever.
Yeah, in my year, I can't go back far enough. I can only go back to the late 80s. But this for me is
no. It doesn't matter your age. I mean, it's just
yeah.
It's
for what I've witnessed, Soph. This is a disaster for me. I can't get behind what I'm seeing. I don't see how. People in the chat were saying to me, "Oh, you started to see a style of play." I saw a style of play against Leicester, and I said, "Actually, I can start to see a little bit of glimpse of what's going on in terms of some triangles and some attacking football. Playing out from the back to me isn't a style. That's just part of what everyone does nowadays in modern football, particularly in the top 6 anyway. But actually, the glimpses that I saw in attacking and triangles and pressing off the ball, I could start to see that against Leicester." Spurs rolled over and died. I was happy with that. But actually, when I look at some of the other decisions that we have, some of the other teams that we've managed to scrape past, Watford 1-0, Newcastle first half shambles. Now, I don't mind doing the George Graham 2-1s, 1-0s because we had a system, we had a philosophy, we had an understanding, we knew what the style was. That back 5 was rock solid. This isn't a rock-solid back five, let me tell you that. It's conceded 2 goals against Chelsea, 3 against United, 4 against Liverpool and 5 against City. That ain't rock-solid, trust me. So when I look at what Brighton have done and what the ref's saying about Brighton coming, yeah, Graham Potter, people are saying, he's not experienced. But neither's Arteta. This guy's had experience in Östersunds. He's had experience at Swansea. Now he's doing very well at Brighton. Answer me this before I finish. How can Danny Welbeck, Trossard and Mopé score and Lallana set them up? But Ødegaard, Partey, Aubameyang, Pepe, Lacazette, Smith-Rowe and Saka can't. Pepe has scored more goals, believe it or not, combined than Saka, Smith-Rowe, Ødegaard and Lacazette in the last 2 years. Pepe's been our top scorer, but we'll leave him on the bench because he's not the one I want. Pepe and Lacazette, they're the only two he hasn't signed or given a contract to. All the others are his players. So when it's the players, goodbye Mikel Arteta, because they're all yours.
All right. Ref, Kev, any closing statements from you today? Ref, brilliant analysis once again, and thank you for the outsider point of view. We only hope to be Liverpool one day again. Did I say that out loud? Whoops, sorry.
Well, I'm sure our day will come to go back down again. It'll happen, don't worry. I'll just enjoy it while it's happening at the moment, thank you.
It's cycles, exactly, Ref. You know that it's a cycle. And listen, as Arsenal fans, we all want to get back to where we believe we belong. We believe we want to be there straight away, but it's going to take some time. That's what it's going to do. And I know people think there's not going to be bumps in the road, but this is all part of this football club. And whether it's this manager or another manager, there's still going to be bumps in the road. That's the truth.
I have a feeling we're going to have a lot more conversations like this as the season goes.
Season goes on, for sure.
The ref, thank you so much for joining, Mr. Dan Potts.
Dapper Dan,
thank you for joining.
Thank you. Sophie, hostess with the most, thank you so much as always. And Squaddies, for all your comments. Some of them were hilarious. Some of them were hilarious. Some of them are good. Some of them are right on the point. So listen, thank you for joining us, and we're going to see you tomorrow. Are we, Sophie? Seeing them tomorrow?
We certainly are going to see them tomorrow, Super
Right.
Kev, you ledge.
Thanks again, everybody. Squaddies.
See you later.
Good
Bye.
night. We're out.
Bye.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.